Shalom, welcome to Out of Africa Torah Session. My name is Tatra Cohen, and this week we are looking at Parashat Vayigash, or he approached in English. This is, of course, referring to that moment of tenseness when the brothers met face off with each other now. You know, you have this history and this envy, this resentment and anger and jealousy in the family. Then now you are in this situation where you now have to face it, you know. And that's exactly what happened. And of course, it's referring to that very spiritual thing we see that Judah did, as he says, my Lord, allow me to approach you as you are just as good as the Pharaoh himself. You know, being exactly as Pharaoh himself was not a light thing. It was a great thing. That's exactly the status that Joseph had now acquired in the land of Egypt. And by the way, by that time, Egypt was more like a superpower. So being governor in Egypt, it meant that you'll be a great man even to the rest of these other countries surrounding. And with the famine adding to that, of course, Egypt had really a lot of good and a lot of advantage as compared to the rest of these other nations which surrounded them. The other thing that really puzzles me in this Torah portion is how did Jacob came to know that there was grain in Egypt? You could see that in as much as he was losing strength and becoming much of age, the old man probably would have been very much spiritual than what we consider him to be. So we see that the brothers refused to return back after they had gotten the land because Benjamin was being accused of theft. And of course, the brothers would not return without him because this was going to be a big issue to the old man. He had actually told them in several occurrences that they should not even come back without him. So this was really a moment of tenseness, and for the family, sometimes such family meetings are actually very important, where you face off with your wrongs, you know. Sometimes we are really destined to be together, but sometimes the behavior, the life of how we conduct each other is more like betrayal to your brothers. And that's exactly how these brothers found themselves in this very moment. Now, with that being said, we knew that they were now going to discuss about, their family matters, and of course, at peak was how they treated Joseph in the past. You know, that family of envy, jealousy over him, and anger, resentment within the brothers, and of course, all those things were now part and parcel of this tenseness. But now, the other thing that this Torah portion tells us, this is the moment again, which after weeping for so much, in this weeping which Joseph did, you would see clearly that he longed to embrace his brothers, but he wanted to test them to see if they were ready to embrace him. Just like what the Messiah is actually doing, like how he longed to be united with Israel, united with his brethren. But you'd see that probably the brethren are not very much ready to embrace the Messiah. And that's exactly what Joseph continues to do in this Torah portion. So later on we see now he overcomes this emotional tenseness, emotional unrest, and he managed to review himself. And as he reviews himself, a lot of questions now would rise within our hearts. One of them is, are the brothers going to, how are they going to take this? And also, is he going to forgive them? And even themselves, are they going to forgive Joseph for what he had been doing to them? You know, they had a lot of going to and fro, which happened before that. Then surprisingly, we see that Joseph actually forgives the brothers, and he actually gives them assurance that, you know what, my coming and being betrayal and so forth was part and parcel of the process which God was doing, for he sent me to preserve life, not just my life, but all our lives, including you. And to give proof to that, he actually assures them of a brighter life here in Egypt. And we are told that now he told them to go and bring his father Jacob. And Jacob was really excited to hear that his beloved son was alive and he has now become. It's more like he knew something, that the guy would have been alive. And this really awakened or brought his life, brought his soul back to life. It was a great moment. Now, with that all being said, there's a lot of things this Torah portion really can present to us. But allow me just to leave you with these three things, which are mainly, you should not beat yourself much about the past, about the things that you have gone through, the mistakes that you have made, and the errors that you have made in your life. Stop beating yourself. It's of no use. It's of no value. It can only destroy you and eat you. But what you can do instead is to forgive, those whom you have wronged. And that's exactly what the brothers were ready to do, to forgive, that Joseph had done all this. But that's exactly, main importantly, what Joseph did, to forgive those who had wronged him. And he assured them that you are really forgiven. Of course, they were so much terrified of him, and they thought maybe one day he would retaliate and revenge and so forth. But that's not, that's not about him. This is exactly the ways which the Messiah say. If they beat you on this cheek, you better give them the other one. If they ask you to carry this load for 1 mile, you got to take it for almost 2 miles. The point is, you've grown in so much spiritually that you cannot allow such useless things, such useless anger, such useless revenge to take over you. But instead, you should move on in life and see the key thing which God is doing, like what Joseph said. He sent me above or ahead of you to preserve life. And that's the important lesson. But finally, if you have realized your mistake, forgive yourself. And forgiveness starts with that moment when you are full of remorse, like, oh, I've done wrong. And with that realization, and also forgive those whom you have wronged. But most importantly, learn to forgive yourself. And unfortunately, the brothers failed on this part of forgiving themselves. No wonder on chapter 50 of Genesis, we are told that the brothers now, according to Rashi, had invented this lie which is mentioned only once. The rest of these other stories are repeated throughout the Torah portion. But at this one, we are told by Rashi that this one is more like what the brothers invented. They lie because they feared this young man would one day revenge and really punish them for what they had done. But guess what? Be like Joseph. Do not revenge. Always see God in every situation, whether it is negative or it is positive. And that's what we see in this Torah portion. There is so much unity which is needed for us to move ahead as a family, as a Jewish people, as a nation of Israel. But all these things begin with forgiving one another. And when we forgive each other, the Lord himself would reveal himself, like what Joseph did. The moment he saw that the brothers were ready, he now revealed himself, and together they moved forward as a family.